The Marvel Rivals Alpha is over, but I've got one more topic I'd like to cover before more things start coming out about the game, and that's characters that I would like to see added to the game. Now, there's really no criteria to this list other than they can't be in the main roster already, or they can't be in that leaked roster of 20 extra characters. If you want to see that, I've got a video on this channel explaining those leaked characters. Otherwise, everything here is going to be something that has not been data mined, not in the game already. So if there are some big inclusions that seem like they should be here, like personally, I love Blade, but he's on that roster, so I didn't put him in the PowerPoint. That's why. But honestly, there's not much more to this. I'm just going to break down how I think they play, what they could use, and just kind of like why I like the character. There are some characters I like and feel like should be in the game, but they're a little more boring, and I didn't want to just add them because it's like, oh, well, we have to have, Ant-Man and the Wasp because they're Avengers, stuff like that. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get into the first one. And this whole first block is going to be X-Men. I'm going to tell you now, because the game and even the leaked roster is sorely lacking X-Men, and I feel like there should be a little more representation of some of the fun and unique characters. So going into the first one, which is a character I cannot believe is not anywhere on the leaked roster. It's Gambit, dude. Come on, Gambit's so cool. Everybody loves Gambit. There's so much you can do with like the cards. You could have like some kind of random mechanic. He's got his projectiles, stuff like that. He's also melee, so he could be this nice like ranged melee hybrid character. Probably a DPS, but I could see a support angle from him. I feel like this is just one of those characters that's just like so cool. Everybody likes Gambit. Maybe that's why they're saving him. They're going to keep him for like year 2 or 3 hype down the road where it's like, oh, dude, finally Gambit's in Marvel Rivals. But yeah, I wanted to start this video off with one of the more popular characters. I think a pick that most people would resonate with. Gambit is just one of those. It's kind of a no-brainer, to be honest. All right, next I have Kitty Pryde. Now, Kitty is interesting. I have no idea what this dinosaur is. I just want to say that, as I didn't even factor that in. If she has a dinosaur companion, that'd be so funny. But Kitty to me seems like a really interesting support character because she could she can go through walls basically, and then in turn she could also probably bring allies with her through walls. And I think that'd just be a really interesting kind of gameplay mechanic of just being like, oh, I want to flank here, but I don't want to go all the way around, so I'm going to get my Kitty to come with me. Jesus Christ. I actually, you know what? I take it back. I don't want anybody in voice chat ever calling any other player in the lobby Kitty. Let's just, actually, you know what? Never mind. I take this one back. Never mind. Okay. Number 3 is Iceman. Iceman is just a personal favorite. I think he's really silly. This picture of like bald Iceman, I don't care. He could have like hair or whatever, like he does in the movies. I think he has it in the movies. There's versions of him where he has like ice hair. Basically, just like Iceman could be really fun, like just skating around, basically like a flyer because he can like put the little ice thing in front of him. I can see like probably just like a DPS, pretty standard. Like if they don't want to like go super hard in the kit, he just has like maybe a freeze and then he just flies around and does some icicle shard damage, and maybe up close he's got like a May slow or something. Pretty simple character, but just one of my personal favorites. Just the idea of being able to like fly around with the ice is just really appealing to me. I really hope they do it eventually down the road. If this game keeps going for years and years and they never stop adding characters, you could add every single X-Men for all I care. That'd be great. All right, next X-Men. This is, I don't know why her picture is so far up. This is a no-brainer. Jean Grey, Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, any of the above. I feel like you can't really do the entire X-Men roster justice without Jean Grey in some form or fashion. Flying character, magic, very powerful, DPS, pretty obviously. It's just like, I know I said I wasn't going to pick like the obvious ones, but I really do like Dark Phoenix. Or Phoenix or anything that they choose. So, yeah, it just kind of feels like where is Jean Grey and all of this leaked roster and everything. So definitely looking out for Phoenix. Okay, this is maybe a harder one to do, but as a Marvel fighting game lover. I like Marvel a lot. Sentinel is just like so iconic to the MVC series, specifically 2, where he's like busted. Um, this is a very obvious tank if they're ever looking for more. Just have this big guy. He's got range. He can punch the hell out of you. He can fly around. He can basically do anything you can do. Anything you want with this character. Just big robot man, but he's really fun. He's really cool looking. He could be this big, like, hulking presence on the battlefield. Probably the biggest character that they have at the moment. So I would definitely be like, I would also be, if they want to do like a really weird experiment with like a colossal character, somebody super big, I think Sentinel's a great option. But yeah, I mean, I just like Sentinel for kind of like personal reasons, but he would work as a really good tank. I also didn't put him on this list, but I want to give another shout out to another tank X-Men, Juggernaut. I would love to see Juggernaut too, but he didn't quite make the list because I didn't want to make it just X-Men, because I could probably make 10 X-Men characters this whole thing. All right, next. We're out of the X-Men bubble. No more X-Men. Okay, we're on Super Skrull. Now, the Fantastic Four are all on that leaked roster. Doctor Doom isn't, for whatever reason. I didn't put Doom on this list because he's like too obvious and he's like part of the story. So I put one of my favorite Marvel villains, Super Skrull, just because he has all of their abilities. And guess what? He'd be a really easy addition because they already have all those abilities made. They just need to copy and paste them in whatever way they want to make it onto Super Skrull. I think what's interesting about Marvel Rivals is that since there is no role lock, you can make characters that are like role hybrids. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that most of the Fantastic Four very likely will have at least one tank, DPS, and support. So Skrull could be like a mix of all three of the roles, and obviously all 4 characters. So he could have his own unique stuff, or he could just literally be copy and paste abilities from the other characters and then make like one new character that has just a complete different playstyle because he has all that stuff. I think that'd be really cool, and there's a couple Marvel characters you could do this like role bleed with, and we'll actually get to one later, but I love Super Skrull and I'd love to see him. Okay. Excuse the very small or very terrible quality image. Silver Surfer. I mean, like, you've got like the Galacta thing going on, in the realm of the Fantastic Four, since we're sticking here. I just want to see the Silver Surfer because I think he's cool. I honestly don't know much about what he does, what his abilities could be, but just flying around on the surfboard is so cool. I don't know what else to tell you. I think he'd probably just be like a DPS character, but I don't know if he'd be like melee. I think, again, like, I'm not as familiar with the Silver Surfer, so maybe I shouldn't have put him on this list because there's other characters I could think of better kits, but I just want to fly around. I don't know if you could tell with Iceman, Silver Surfer would basically just be Iceman. I just want to fly around on a surfboard or like skating or something like that. I'm a simple guy. What can I say? It'd be cool. It'd be fun. Nobody in Overwatch does that, so. Anyways, next, another character that's like a fill character, Taskmaster. Taskmaster is the same thing with Super Skrull, except you could do it with every single character in the roster. I think that Taskmaster would be cool if he could like set an ability to be any of the other characters' abilities on the field, or if he had something where like he gets certain abilities based on the last person that he damaged or looked at or something weird. Obviously Loki already has like the duplicate ultimate, but Taskmaster could be adaptive like that, or he could just have a bunch of different moves and abilities from other characters, like he does in Marvel vs. Capcom, where he's literally just copy and pasted moves and stuff from other characters in the game. I can see multiple ways they could do it, but I just think Taskmaster is really cool, and he's one of those characters that if they do it right, he could be super interesting. There's so many angles you could take this character, so many unique things to do. So that's why I would totally want Taskmaster, just because I feel like it's pretty likely, given the how much effort they want to put into it. All right, second to last here, I've got Doc Ock, and if there's the X-Men, it was lacking in the base roster and in the leaked roster. Even more lacking were Spider-Man characters. I think 3 out of the total 39 possible characters to be in the game were Spider-Man characters. That is criminal. I only picked one for this list because I wanted to have like a good like roster of like maybe DPS and supports, and Doc Ock is pretty obviously a tank, I would think. You could do like a kind of like an arm spin, or like kind of, I don't know, just like his arms could block damage in some form or fashion, and he could be climbing up the walls, or maybe even just like swinging around. I think more like climbing with his tentacles would be better. He could have like a weapon or gadgets or something, or he could just, I don't know, just have his fists and hit you with the what's it called, the tentacles. Like there's a lot that you can do with Doc Ock. I feel like Spider-Man needs some representation, just a very iconic Spidey villain that would be a little more unique than just like, I don't know, Green Goblin would just fly. You know, like I didn't want to just have one of those like Vulture. Like Vulture would just be a flying character. I wanted Doc Ock to have a little bit of like the one Spider-Man villain, two Spider-Man villains have a little more flair. So that's why I went with Doc Ock. Plus I like Doc Ock, and he's pretty popular, and you know, I could see it happening pretty easily. And the last character on the list, which I'm honestly surprised that wasn't on the roster, because I feel like this character is super unique and cool and everybody would love him. Ghost Rider, dude. Come on. Where's Ghost Rider? Like, out of all the like wacko one-shot Marvel characters, Ghost Rider is more known than like some of those other weird picks that they've chosen. But Ghost Rider doesn't really ever get his like day in the sun. I know there were a couple Nick Cage movies, which are like, what's going on with those? But in terms of like games and like MCU and TV and whatever other stuff Marvel does, feels like Ghost Rider is just somehow left behind. And I think that's a shame, because like this is literally a biker with a giant chain, and he is a flaming skeleton. Like, is that not the sickest thing behind the vampire killing vampire in the whole thing? I feel like if there's one character that they're like really missing out of like the weird wacky picks, it's gotta be Ghost Rider. And this is like, you know, he could just be a DPS. He could ride around on his motorcycle if he wanted to, swinging the chains all around. He could fire, you know, fire everywhere. There's so much you could do with this character. It's kind of mind-boggling that he hasn't, I'm sure he's been considered, but he's not in the roster. So anyways, that is the whole list. Let me know who you'd like to see in the comments below. There were plenty of characters that I kind of left out. And again, I didn't want to pick any of the characters from the leaked roster, so that's kind of where some of these picks came from. My Marvel Rivals content will be a little few and far between nowadays. Whenever they update and send out a trailer, probably I'll make a video on it. But for right now, since the alpha is done, I'll be a little less on the Marvel Rivals front. But if you like what you see, please, if you wouldn't mind doing any of that good YouTube like, comment, subscribe stuff, it does really help me out. I really appreciate it. If not, if you want to get on these discussions live, that's going to be twitch.tv/LaneHemingway. All my socials are down below if that interests you. And thank you so much. Have a good day.